listening to this broadcast. You're a part of the resistance.
Welcome back to the Resistance Broadcast. My name is John Hoey. I just took my 8 and 9-year-old nephews Cole and Gavin to see Solo: A Star Wars Story, and they absolutely loved it, and that's ultimately what matters. Like Carrie Fisher said, it's all about family, and that's what's so powerful about it. Also, I can officially confirm that I will be at New York Comic-Con this fall with Lacey, and Star Wars Celebration next April with James and Lacey and a bunch of the Star Wars Newsnet crew. And we'll get into talking about Star Wars Celebration here in a few minutes. So let's get this show rolling by saying hi to the crew. As always, James Bainey and Lacey Gillerin. What's going on?
As expected, I'm always excited to talk about Star Wars, even though we did just have about an hour of technical difficulties. But I think we've got it sorted out now.
I think you just had technical difficulties saying technical difficulties.
Yeah, did you just say nectical?
I did intentionally switch the letters. Don't think that I actually made that mistake, but...
Well, I'm
on,
super
man.
pumped because, yes, I am going to New York Comic-Con with John and also Celebration with John, and we're flying together and we're driving to the airport together. So basically, John's like my new best friend.
Yep, we really have to hope that we get along a year from now. That's really what it comes down to. We're putting a lot of eggs in the basket here.
Let me tell you a story about my man.
Be like, stewardess, we're called flight attendants now. Yeah, can I change my seat, please?
Can you just crash the
no,
plane,
you can't.
please?
yeah. Take her down.
No, but I'm
Take her
super
down.
excited. I was very, very, very lucky during the Celebration sale, and I got a VIP ticket, guys. I'm VIP.
Yeah, me and James have business class, whatever you call it. We have the
Conventional.
we have the regular old 5-day pass, but we're gonna be all over the place down there, and we're lucky. Well, we're lucky that we're all going. We're happy that we're all going, and once we figure out what we're doing, we'll share as the details come in, right, guys?
Mm-hmm.
One of us. One of us.
We are going to talk about Celebration in a little bit in the Newsnet, but first we have some poll results, and we asked you guys, how many total times do you plan on seeing Solo in theaters before its theatrical run is over? And only 8% said 0. 29% said 1 time's enough. The winning vote, 42%, said 2 times. 2 times is enough, and then I'll wait to get my digital download or Blu-ray or what have you, or streaming service. And then 21% said other, and a bunch of people said 3 times, 5 times, 7 times. And I was like, oh my God, that's ridiculous. But our best comment, guys, goes to one of our best fans and longest time fans ever, GrandMasterGalenMarek at GmasterGMarek08.
Longest
AKA
Twitter handle.
Yeah.
Samuel Allen, big fan of ours, so shout out to you, man. He said, I'm on my 18th viewing right now.
Gosh.
I'll keep going till it leaves my sector. Anyway, you guys and members in Star Wars Newsnet's Cantina Forum have known me for my obsessive compulsive viewing runs. Hashtag let the viewings flow through you.
Yeah, the amount of times he's seen Solo can sign up for the military now.
That's true. The amount of hours he has seen Solo is one more than my age.
I don't think he ever left. I think he's still at the theater right now.
He probably is at the theater right now, honestly.
We're not worthy,
Yeah, I'd put
Samuel
bets
Allen.
on. I bet right now, as he's listening to the podcast, he's watching the previews for Solo in the theater, and he's about to turn off the podcast to see it for the 19th time. That's my guess. But anyway, good on you, man. And we tried to get Jon Kasdan to see that. I don't know if he has, but no signs yet. But awesome, 18 viewings is just insane. I can't even believe it. But that does it for our polls. So James, what's going on this week in the Newsnet?
Well, we all know that Solo maybe didn't make the money that we expected at the box office, but we are quick to jump to conclusions on why the film suffered. Veteran media analyst Doug Kreutz, says he believes the reason was actually poor marketing. So, Lacey, let me ask you, he draws a heavy comparison to the first trailer from Rogue One, saying, the first 35 seconds of the trailer almost exclusively focuses on Felicity Jones as the protagonist, Jyn Erso, selling her as a new franchise hero. The first teaser for Solo came out just 108 days from the release, and the teaser, by our count, had only about 10 seconds of screen time where Ehrenreich's face was clearly in the picture. Not, in our opinion, nearly enough. So, in your opinion, do you think Doug is right? Do subtle things like this matter?
So, first of all, I think the trailers and stuff came later just based on the timeline of when things were shot in the production. I think they were so far behind that that's when they were able to get stuff together. But that being said, I think the marketing was interesting with this movie because they did do like a kajillion posters, but they didn't release TV spots and stuff until later, closer to the film coming out. I think they kind of banked a little bit that Han Solo is a well-known character, that people loved him, that he was a fan favorite, whereas Jyn Erso was someone that no one knew who she was. They did use a lot of Vader in the marketing, which I think helped Rogue One. I don't know. There's just so many different factors with this, so I don't know if it's the marketing necessarily. Maybe the marketing to general people that aren't diehard Star Wars fans, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I almost feel like it almost seemed like there was some kind of trepidation about how much of this kid is Han Solo are we willing to put out there in case people are like, whoa, I don't like that Han Solo, and then just immediately cut it off.
Right, like Emma Watson with Belle and Beauty and the Beast, they like didn't show her singing.
Yeah,
sure.
Right. So the movie's called Solo, and you're not going to show Han Solo. So there was obviously a obvious decision on their part to limit showing him to us early on.
I think the biggest thing with his thing is not, I mean, I know that's his main comment, but I think he's saying 108 days before the release of the movie. So don't forget that that's in his quote as well, saying that, you know, most of these trailers that we've seen for the previous movies that were all big successes financially, their trailers came out long before, and we were seeing scenes and we were getting pieces of information from those movies long before. And this one was like 108 days until the release of the movie. They're like, okay, fine, we're going to start showing you stuff. And then it was just like 108 days of Solo cramming down your face, as well as all the other, you know, Avengers and Deadpool and other stuff. So I honestly do think, he kind of throws out that he doesn't really think the backlash from Last Jedi is really that big of a deal. He says, if this franchise was able to survive the Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, we have a hard time believing that The Last Jedi could actually have done that much damage to Solo. And that's a good point, but it is kind of a weird time frame. It's like, I know this is an exaggeration, but just imagine if fans were coming out of Last Jedi and then they're like, the very next weekend, they're like, all right, guys, let's all go see Solo. People are just going to be like, I don't know, you know? Mm-hmm. And so I think that year-long, like every December release, I know people have been talking about that for a long time, but I actually do think that there is something to be said about the poor marketing decision to move this movie to May. And I think that's one of the bigger things.
But I don't think that you can look at The Last Jedi and not compare it to The Phantom Menace. Because him saying, oh yeah, we got through The Phantom Menace. Yeah, but you didn't take an established character like Luke Skywalker and drastically change him. Yeah, you see Anakin as little, but the thing that everybody likes about him when he's Vader is later. So it doesn't really matter what happens to him when he's younger. Do you know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, I think all he's just trying to say is that fans came in and they watched The Phantom Menace and they watched Attack of the Clones and they were just like, I don't like these movies at all. Yet today, Star Wars is still thriving. So I think coming along a bad movie for whatever reason, the fans will survive and the fans will still continue to support the franchise regardless. Popping in for a hot minute to give his 2 cents on the current state of Star Wars, he also said that while he doesn't believe the poor production process is to blame for the movie, he does point out that he personally nominates Dave Filoni as a worthy successor because of his work on the 2 major animation products. You know, that's Star Wars Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels. So let me ask you, John, I know we've talked about this before, but is Filoni the guy?
Nope. I know he's a popular choice because he can bridge things. People who do like the Lucasfilm animation love it, but it's a really small percentage of people when you really break it down and get out of the bubble. That, and I get it because he is the last content creating tie to George Lucas, and he was like his protege, and I understand that. But if you're talking about replacing Kathleen Kennedy, and in terms of him being the next runner of the ship, I just don't see it. I mean, I appreciate Dave Filoni. I understand his passion. He knows it. He gets it. But I think he's a little overrated, in my opinion. I know that's a hot take, or whatever, but I'm going to say it because he's done animation. Clone Wars wasn't that great. It had some good arcs. I like some of it. I like the Darth Maul stuff. I like the Mortis arc. I don't think the whole series is that great, in my opinion. Rebels was good. It's a kid show. I know how much you love it, James, and that's fine and good. But to say that, he should be the guy now to run the saga and the films, like, that is a huge leap. I don't care who you are, and I'm no industry insider, and I can only imagine. So I don't think Filoni is the guy. I don't think he will be the guy, but I do think he will expand his role. Just he's not going to be the keeper of the flame or anything like that. Not anytime soon, anyway.
Yeah, I agree with you, John. I just don't think he has the ability quite yet. People are even talking about, can he direct a single film? But yet they're like nominating him to like run the franchise for multiple films and stuff. And people forget too that like even in a season of Rebels, there's stuff in there that people are like, I hated that episode. That was dumb, Right. So you're gonna get
space whales. I know you love your space whales.
Yeah, like maybe the like looking. I do the pergola. Yeah. Even if it's Pergil. Not pergola. Pergola is the thing on my back porch.
I mean, I'd rather see those, I'll be honest.
Yeah, so I think you're right. I don't think he has it. Lacey, do you have anything to add on that before we move on to the next story?
I said this while we were talking to John Roca. I had a great conversation with Dave Filoni once about sandwiches. He's a really good guy, and I think he really cares about the fandom and about Star Wars, and he really gets the lore, which I know James loves. So yeah, I could see him being the guy, absolutely. Do I think he's going to do it? No, I think he wants to stick in the animation side of things.
Wow. Speaking of like, if he likes sandwiches so much, that would explain why he can send those characters off to run delis for so long, right, James?
Oh my gosh.
And it's back. And it's back. To all 10 of our listeners who love that joke, that was for you and only you.
It's just really bold of you to just say a statement so anti-Last Jedi,
I don't even know what that means.
It has to do with Holdo. You're like, I don't like Holdo and shoehorn.
No, it was anti Leia, Princess of Alderaan version of Holdo.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly Holdo, but it was the fact that her backstory involved some things.
Yeah,
but
I like Last Jedi Holdo.
Yeah. All right, the next story is Jon Kasdan, son of Lawrence Kasdan and writer of Solo, A Star Wars Story, pulled a Pablo Hidalgo this week and took to Twitter to answer fan questions, retort negativity, give insight on the making of Solo, and even some hints on what we might see on the Blu-ray. In his tweets, he mentioned clarification on some filming locations, information on Legends characters, Tag and Bink, and their deleted scene, so look for that. Even that Enfys Nest and the Cloud Riders were a Lord and Miller edition, saying it was important to them that they were seen as a Star Wars biker gang. John, the most interesting thing, though, in my opinion, was a fan writing in after one of John's pro-Disney tweets, refuting the fact that Disney pays attention and listens to the fan base, citing that fans were petitioning for Anthony and Gruber to be cast as Han, but yet Alden got the part. John stated that Anthony did, in fact, get an audition, and that they paid special attention because fans admired his work in Age of Adeline, yet ultimately Alden got the part, and in his opinion, for the better. Even today at my job, somebody told me they saw Solo, and that they thought the guy who played him did a pretty good job, although he was pretty sure another guy was going to get the part. I asked him to clarify, and he was, in fact, talking about Anthony. So, I mean, it's definitely out there. I want to ask you, was this a mistake on the casting part? Should they have gone with Anthony and Gruber?
No. And I think most people would agree with me, and that's the vibe I got from a lot of people I've been seeing online. Like, I even jokingly ran a poll, which casting rumor are you sick of the most? And it was Sebastian Stan as Luke Skywalker, Millie Bobby Brown as Leia, or Anthony Gruber as Han Solo, and it was like a tie. It was like 33% each. No, I mean, the guy looks like Harrison Ford, and he did a decent job in a cameo, small part in Age of Adeline. I actually really did like that movie. But Alden Ehrenreich did a fantastic job, and I'll leave it up to the pros to make those decisions. But when you say interesting part, my most interesting part about this does have to do with what you were just saying about Jon Kasdan suggesting that Lucasfilm is listening to the fans' wants. And I think they are to an extent, but not as much as he thinks. Like, he was saying, oh, you want an underworld film? Keep saying it. Keep asking for it. And I'm like, okay, because that's why we haven't gotten the Knights of the Old Republic, and that's all people keep talking about.
Or an Obi-Wan film. Like, it might be on the books, but it's like, if fans really wanted that, we would have got that first.
Right. And we just mentioned Knights of the Old Republic, which means it just got pushed back another year, unfortunately.
I was going to say, why did you say it? You jinxed it. Oh.
I know, I'm sorry. But you know what would be interesting if Jon Kasdan is quietly telling us that an Underworld movie is coming by saying that? So, we'll see.
John, is that what is that hat that you have on? Is that tinfoil?
That's my tinfoil hat, man. Yep. I bought it from the Disney store. It has the Mickey ears shaped in tinfoil. But yeah, that's my take on that stuff, man. And Gruber, whatever.
Yeah, I've said this on Twitter, but like, I absolutely believe they were so smart to not choose him. Like, nothing against the dude's personality or whatever. I don't even know much about him. I just know that I've seen the clip and I'm like, okay, yeah, he does it pretty convincing, but he's not an actor. Like, that's the thing. He's not. And I know he was in Age of Adeline, but he was basically like a glorified cameo in that movie. He doesn't really have lines. He can't lead a franchise, let alone a Star Wars franchise. And I know that people could say, well, neither is Alden, but you guys, you don't even understand. I mean, basically, this is just like hiring a random dude one time who did like a fairly good impression to lead a major franchise in Hollywood.
He'd be great on like an SNL skit doing Harrison Ford. You know what I mean?
Or in Disney parks or something.
Or at Disney parks.
There you go. He should be hired at like Disneyland or something.
I mean that with the most love possible, by the way.
And by the way, can I add this? They have been doing a good job of sending Chewbacca places with the real Chewbacca costume, but the one that they use at Disney World is garbage. They need to get the better Chewbacca costume there because it's just not good. So if you are listening, Jon Kasdan and Lucasfilm, or in Disney parks, get the real Chewbacca costume at Disney World, please.
Or at least upgrade the one you have a little bit. Come on.
Yeah, this one has like a legit like mustache.
Yeah. I do want to push back a little bit that I think most people would agree that Alden was. I think the Star Wars fan base that enjoyed Solo is like me and you, and we're like, oh yeah, Alden was the guy. But like I said, I've talked to multiple of my friends, and they've mentioned that they thought it was going to go to that other guy, or they thought for sure that other guy should have got it. You know
why? Because they're outside the bubble.
I think that's the thing. They saw that and they go, yeah, that's the dude. Yeah, they should really get that guy.
They saw like a People magazine cover, and it's like they show Harrison Ford young and him right next to him, like, yes. Wow, he looks just like him.
Yeah, exactly. So, Lacey, going back to Jon Kasdan and all of his tweeting, would you be interested in him writing future Star Wars films? I mean, usually this type of openness is appreciated in the fandom. Does his tweeting recently kind of paint him in a better or worse light for you personally?
I think it's great. I think he's giving his opinion. He's sticking by it. I think he's sticking by his choices. I think he's a talented writer. He brings great things to the movies. I mean, I'm going to bring it up, but he basically helped write the whole scene between Han Solo and Kylo Ren in The Force Awakens, which was such a pivotal moment in that movie, and he helped bring in those moments to make it more emotional, because originally it wasn't that tense. Like, it just, I guess from what JJ had said, is that the moment wasn't as emotional and like endearing on both sides. So I think, yeah, he could definitely write. I think he also, being that Lawrence is his dad, I'm sure he's picked up some stuff from his dad, and if he ever wrote a Star Wars movie, I'm sure he'd hand it to his dad being like, what do you think? I just think it's a smart move. The guy knows the fandom and the stories and I'm sure behind the scenes moments that nobody else knows, like through and through.
Celebration Chicago is coming, and it's coming fast. If you are planning on going, tickets went on sale this week, and the 5-day tickets have already sold out. The single-day passes are going quick, so like I said, if you're planning on going this year, you had better get a move on. We're going to Chicago, guys.
Chicago.
Yeah.
Bears.
Yeah, I am really excited this. We can't currently talk about any of our plans for the event since it's so far away, but if
We don't
We
have
have
any
nothing
yet.
to talk about.
there's that too. But that's what I'm saying is it's so far away we don't have our plan set, but not that we can't leak exclusive information. But these major conventions are somewhat new to me and John, but we do have an expert with us. Lacey is the community development manager of AwesomeCon, which is a massive nerd convention that pulls in thousands into DC just to hang out. She also used to work for Star Wars Celebration back in the day. So she's got the inside information that you're looking for, that we're looking for, and she's going to be our guide so that we can bring all the coverage and all of the fun to you guys if you can't be there with us. John, Lacey, between the two of you, I want you to fight this out. Which of you is more excited for Star Wars Celebration Chicago?
It's me. It's me because like Lacey's like jaded. She's like, "Oh, Celebration, yeah, I know all about that. I'm a pro at all these things," and I'm like, "I'm going to Celebration."
I'm pretty sure that I was the one when they
one.
announced the dates. I immediately booked my hotel, so I'm not sure what you're talking about.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just giving you credit with a backhanded compliment because you're such a veteran. No, I am very excited about it, but I want to let Lacey kind of give us a bit of a rundown on the inner workings and how it kind of works. But I know I'm glad I'm going with James and Lacey, especially because Lacey's going to help me not look like that big of an idiot as I'm walking around the convention center.
You would never look like, no one's going to look like an
A
idiot.
near impossible job.
James in there with the dig.
Big dig. So yeah, Lacey, why don't you kind of paint the picture for people out there who may, like us, James and I, who haven't gone yet, on what the deal is with Star Wars Celebration, especially from someone who has worked it.
Yeah, so my first celebration was 2015, and I know that's a little later than most Star Wars fans, but it was the first one that I actually went to in Anaheim. It was right when they had announced, the whole Disney deal and the big Force Awakens panel, and there was this excitement in the air of Star Wars is back. Star Wars Celebration is like the ultimate Star Wars event. It's cosplayers everywhere you go. Like, literally, you could be standing there and 40 stormtroopers could walk by you at any time. They have huge, 501st bashes, big parties, big panels, tons of exclusive merchandise. The show store is always crazy to get into. And they have a really, really cool pin program, which was never someone that collected pins until Celebration. My favorite ones to date are definitely the emoji pins of 2016 Europe. And yeah, it's just really cool. I'll probably have more tips and tricks as we get closer. There's no point in telling you guys now, but definitely feel free to ask your questions.
I have questions in terms of because in terms of cons, I've been in New York Comic Con, and I know Reed Pop is also the one that runs that.
Yep.
So I'm sure there are some parallels there, but
Yep.
Star Wars Celebration is its own animal. So let me ask you, in terms of the overall vibe of Star Wars Celebration, is it intense? Is it stressful? Is it chaotic? Or is it more jovial and relaxed? What is the overall vibe? Not just one place, through the years on average, what's the overall vibe of Star Wars Celebration?
So I think it really depends on what activities you're taking part in and what you're looking to do. If you come into Celebration expecting to see everything and do everything and get every single item, it's not going to happen. It's like picking and choosing what you want to do. It's kind of like going to a Disney park. And it's kind of funny that I'm saying that, seeing as Lucasfilm owns half of this show. But the best thing to do is to just pick a couple things each day that you want to do so that you're not letting yourself down. But expect to wait in lines. Make sure to bring a power pack for your phone. It is crazy. You're talking about still one of the biggest shows in the country. You're talking over 100,000 people a weekend. it can get nuts, especially at those bigger panels that people want to be in the same room. But this coming year with Chicago, they're having the big panels, the celebration stage, which is the main stage of the show, in the Wintrust Arena, which is right near the McCormick Center, and it sits, 10,000 people. So a lot more people are going to be able to get in. And from my understanding of people that are working the show is that they're probably not going to do overnight sleeping anymore. I know that was a big thing in the past. I don't think they're doing that anymore.
So JJ's not going to show up with pizzas this time.
No. 2015, he showed up with pizzas. Or he didn't show up with pizzas. He delivered the pizzas. But then Ryan Johnson showed up with stuff. Was it in 2017? I'm pretty sure it was 2017 he showed up.
Yeah, I think Ryan Johnson was there. I don't know that did he bring pizzas, or was he just there to sign autographs?
Signing autographs and signing badges and stuff.
So what was the capacity for the Last Jedi panel seat-wise compared to what they're going to do for Episode 9?
So this past year, I was there as a fan, actually, in 2017. That room probably sat about 2,500 to 3,000 people, and this is going to sit 10,000 people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
okay. So a lot more.
The bigger main stage was probably 2015, which was the arena at Anaheim, and that sat about 5 to 6. So they're looking to sit a lot more people in the same room, which is cool because then everybody will get their chance to.
That's a good thing, yeah. So me and James may be able to go. Like we'll get online because Lacey, I don't know.
Nosebleeds, baby.
Yeah, me and James are gonna be the nosebleeds, but Lacey's got the VIP ticket.
I do. I don't know how it happened, guys. It was just a refresh, and I lucked out.
Me and James have we have the bleacher seats.
We'll see how it goes, guys. I'm just excited to be there to hear the information and then just convey it back to the people who aren't able to come to Celebration, So I'm just excited. I'm already pitching, follow us on Twitter. But I'm excited to get into that stuff.
Just go into it having fun. There's no point in getting stressed out. And if you don't get to do what you want to do, it's whatever. You're with people that love Star Wars as much as you do. Make friends. You'll make friends in lines, amazingly. And I've made some of my really, really good friends, lifelong friends, from the show. So
that's rad. And we definitely have to plan, like James was saying, we're going to unveil more details when we actually have plans. But I assume we're going to try to do not only an inside meetup, but also maybe an outside the convention meetup. So with as many of our Star Wars Newsnet friends and Resistance broadcasts, all of you out there. So I hope so anyway. I know we have already one fan who's going to buy us dinner.
Ooh.
So, what's his name again? Scotty J. Rowe?
Scotty
Deep Dish Pizza?
J. Rowe.
John, didn't you promise a bunch of people beers if they showed up in Resistance broadcast t-shirts?
I don't remember that.
Yeah. You wouldn't.
Maybe.
He drank half the beers.
I drank half the beers, yeah. So hopefully we can plan some stuff. I don't know. I'll look forward to it. I'm really excited.
Well, I think that is about all we can talk about when it comes to Celebration because we don't know a whole lot yet. We're just super pumped, super excited to go. I do know that there actually are a couple other stories that came out this week, and I wanted to touch on them. I'm going to actually hand that over to John, and we're going to hit up the Scoundrels Rundown.
James, when have I ever steered you wrong? Punch it! The Episode 9 production working title has changed, guys. This is huge news for the upcoming entry in the saga with so many implications because we all know that working titles are secret spoilers for these movies' plot lines. And none of what I just said is true. Working titles are an attempt for studios to ward people off the scent of productions and oftentimes a personal touch from something of a director's past, memory, or something of that nature. And with the internet, it really doesn't really matter anymore because we all know what they are. For example, The Force Awakens was Avco, The Last Jedi was Space Bear, Solo was Red Cup, Episode 9 was apparently called Black Diamond initially, but now it is allegedly being referred to as Trixie with the IX Roman numeral in the middle there. And the reason, actually, I found out, this is an exclusive, so you guys listening, be glad that you're subscribed to our podcast. At the end, so Trixie, at the end of the movie, Kylo Ren is going to steal fruity cereal away from a hungry white rabbit and remind him that they're just for kids. So nothing to see here, folks.
I hate you so much. Oh my god.
Right.
Wait, is he going to steal it? Is he going to be standing in just his pants eating the cereal? Because then I buy it.
There she is, folks. There's one every episode. Our next story, a new solo book. Speaking of solos, a new solo book that predates Solo: A Star Wars Story called Most Wanted is out, written by Ray Carson. The book details Han and Kira's time on Corellia working for Lady Proxima. From Chris Manning's review on Star Wars Newsnet, quote, a prequel to Solo: A Star Wars Story, the tie-in novel focuses on a teenaged Han and Kira who are barely scraping by as scum rats in service to Lady Proxima. After the mysterious disappearance of her lead, head of the White Worms, the sewer-dwelling gangster separately offers the two an opportunity to prove themselves and earn a big promotion for a seemingly simple task, end quote. If you want to learn more about Han and Kira before the events of Solo, this might be the book worth checking out. Our last story. Colin Trevorrow has spoken briefly about his exit from Episode 9, recently saying, quote, I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't want to affect the way that fans get to see these films. When we were kids, these movies came to us from far away. They were a gift. And the more we talk about how they're made, the more it reveals they're just movies. But they're not just movies. They're more than that. Beyond that. I got the opportunity to tell a story that is a celebration of everything I believe in. I got to tell it to George Lucas, and I got to tell it to Luke Skywalker, and those are experiences I will cherish for the rest of my life, end quote. There has been a lot of speculation that Trevorrow wanted Luke to survive The Last Jedi and be a big part of his film, and clashes between stories led to his ultimate dismissal. It should be noted that Trevorrow directed Jurassic World 2, which will also be doing Jurassic World 3, which are produced by Kathleen Kennedy's husband, Frank Marshall, so there's likely not a lot of bad blood here, as some outlets may want you to believe. For articles on all these stories, be sure to visit StarWarsNewsNet.com every day. That is your rundown this week. Let's see what questions Lacey has fired up for us in Ask the Resistance. Chewie, get us out of here.
Hey, it's time for Ask the Resistance. You guys got questions? We've got some answers, right?
We are Radio Shack.
We have answers, hopefully.
You guys were really paused on that. I'm not really sure if you have the answers.
I don't have the answers. I just speculate on what I think, and we record it.
By the way, John, I'm pretty sure you just opened up so many rumors about what Colin's movie would have looked like with that little story there.
I mean, there was a quote from him.
I know, but I digress. Okay, so our first question comes from one of my favorite people on the internet, Evan at Harris Eve 9.
Never heard of him.
He's the best. And he asks, have we seen the end of Kylo's TIE silencer? Would you like to see it appear in Episode 9? I'm going to answer this because it's a Kylo question, so obvi. I don't think...
Can you never say obvi ever again?
Okay, so yes, I think we definitely will see Kylo's TIE silencer again. I think it was such a cool ship. He's obviously a really good pilot from his dad, Tyr. But yeah, I think we'll see it again. What do you guys think, really quick? Do you think you'll see it again?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Good.
Leave it at that.
Yeah.
Damn it. They gotta sell those toys, Hasbro.
The next question is from David of Flixton at FlickDave. And he says, hi guys, in Solo: A Star Wars Story, I didn't see where Chewie's life debt began. Has this been written out of canon? James, what do you think?
Actually, I said I speculate on this stuff, but I actually do know this one. It has not been written out of canon. The biggest thing is that, number one, there is a book, a canon book called Aftermath Life Debt. So that very heavily hints at it. But within the book, it has a lot to do with Han and trying to find and rescue Chewbacca after he's been missing for a while back on Kashyyyk. And there's a little period of time there where he talks about the life debt, and he talks about how, Chewie keeps saying that, I saved him, but really he saved me. And there's actually some pretty good stuff in there that is really cool now because we get to see that stuff in Solo. As far as it actually being mentioned in the movie, you are right. I don't think there was a specific moment there that Han, obviously Han never says like, what, life debt, or something like that. But I just think it's kind of implied that at times Chewbacca could have went off on his own, but he still chose to go with Han. And I think that he likes Han, but I think also that that we kind of know as fans that the life debt thing is important to his culture and the Wookiee culture at large. So it's definitely not written out of canon, but it was kind of strange that they didn't mention it in the movie. Maybe they felt like they were doing too many checklist things in the movie, and they just said, do we need to say life debt, the words life debt? Let's just let it be what it is.
All right. And our next question comes from William Bentz, ... Poor Grangler. I really like that. I wonder if he wears like a cowboy hat and has a lasso and stuff.
Absolutely he does. I've seen him.
At Bentz_Billy, and he asks, it just occurred to me that we still haven't got a second name for Rey yet. This can't be mere oversight on everyone involved in the making of these movies. Do you think it will be a shocking big reveal in episode 9? Why keep it a secret if she's a nobody, as she said? John?
Talk about having the answers.
You're good friends with the Kasdans. You've mentioned this on a number of occasions.
No, I'll tell you what. I think it's not going to be necessarily a big reveal, but if you've heard my theories on this, I don't think she's going to have a last name, and then by the end of episode 9, she'll take on the surname Skywalker as a tribute to Luke Skywalker. That's my take on that. Unless JJ flips the script and goes against that she's a nobody and makes it a twist. I don't think he's going to do that because he was pretty in tune with this production. We know he was the executive producer of episode 8. He read episode 8 and said he wished he could have directed it. So I think he's on board, and I think he's going to roll with that. So my guess is that the reason why we don't have one yet is because she's going to take it on because there's not going to be any more Skywalkers left at the end of episode 9 because Kylo Ren will die and she will have her name Rey Skywalker as a tribute. But thank you, William or Billy, however you want to go. And keep wrangling those porgs, man.
I have one question for you. How dare you?
I knew that was coming. I just saw a GIF just showing up saying, how dare you?
How dare you attack my soft boy like that? Okay.
Your soft boy.
My soft boy.
I have a quick question. I have a quick question. So I think we're doing okay in time here. Yeah, we are. Real quick, James and Lacey is a porg. Speaking of porg wrangler, will a porg appear in episode 9?
Yes,
no,
because it's on the ship with Chewie.
Okay, so Gary, you think Gary's going to be there, and James says no.
That is a good point, but I think that it's going to be like 3 years later, and I don't know what the lifespan of porgs are.
It would be nice if he brought him home, like in a children's book between the movies, and we find out that he brought Gary home to live with the rest of the porgs.
Yeah, I get the impression that porgs are kind of like Rian Johnson's thing, and then like Neil and JJ are just going to be like, let's just do new stuff, new creatures. We don't want to see a porg again. We've done that.
Yeah, because there was Octo in episode 7, and there were no porgs, and no porgs then.
Well, that was fun.
So boom.
We
porg
had the answers there. Jeez.
So our last question comes from Stormtrooper Pete.
Stormtrooper
Hey, Pete.
At Stormtrooper Pete. And my boy says, hey, just wanted to share these with you. One fan to another. So let me, #AskTheResistance, what's one of your favorite / prized possessions of Star Wars memorabilia or collection? I'd love to hear from everyone about that. So John, I'll let you start.
I have two. One is my photo and my guest pass for the Last Jedi World premiere, which I have hanging right above my head right now. And two would be I have in a frame original film cells from The Empire Strikes Back.
I have that.
Yeah. So I love that because you can look at it through the light and see it, and it's a shot of Luke looking up at Vader in Cloud City when they're right before they're about to fight.
Nice.
And it's it's obviously limited numbers of those, and I really cherish that. So I actually have to hang that up too. So thanks for reminding me, Pete. But that's mine.
James?
For me, I don't know. I've been on record before that I'm not really like a collector of items. Like I would like the toys, and sometimes I get a little bit caught up on the Black Series stuff, but I talk myself out of it because I don't need that stuff, As far as like actual like something that makes me feel really good, I know it kind of sounds dumb, but like when I went to the global press conference, that was like my first official like Lucasfilm thing. And some of the stuff that they gave us just as like gifts, I look at and I was like, the only reason I own that is because I flew out to California to do stuff for Last Jedi, and it was a great experience. And there's even some of the stuff that's come because of the podcast. Like, for instance, I have one of those Jedi challenges thing, and like I never would have bought that. So every time I see it and every time I play it, I'm just like, it's so crazy that I'm in this world, you know what I mean? And I'm so thankful to be part of this, because if I was going to be part of like any entertainment fandom, like this is the one to be in, Star Wars. I love it. So that stuff to me just kind of holds personal meaning every time I look at it. So that's probably like the coolest stuff in my opinion.
I'm still pissed you got that.
Yeah, well, you have a ticket to the world premiere, so
I can't play that every day, though.
Yeah, I think you play it just about every time we talk about our favorite Star Wars stuff.
I know. I play that
but
card.
You're totally right, man. That's a good reason to be it, or a good reason to bring it up. Lacey, what you got?
So I have like a lot of stuff, and I'm not lying. Like, I have like a lot of stuff. I posted a picture last weekend of like my part of my collection, and there's still piles of things on the ground that aren't on the shelves because I couldn't fit everything. I think the item that I most care about is probably my Last Jedi poster from Celebration 2017 that I got signed by Mark Hamill in the airport.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah, so being that I'm in like the entertainment industry, so to speak, with like Comic-Cons, I'm like very professional when it comes around to celebrities. Like, they're just doing their job. But there was an instance where I'm hand carrying this poster home, and I'm in the airport, and the airport lady came up to me and was like, "That's Luke Skywalker over there," or like, "That's the guy that plays Luke Skywalker," and I was like, "Mark Hamill?" And she's just like, "Yeah, whatever." But before that, she had come up to me and said like, "Do you like Star Wars?" And I had Rey hair in, I had a Star Wars shirt on, I had Rey boots on, and a Star Wars sweatshirt. And she was like, "So do you like Star Wars?" And I was like, how can you tell?" So he was actually in the next lane over from me in security, and he's going through, and they'd held up security so he could get through it. And I was like, oh my God, I can't bother him. So then in my distraction in Orlando, I got on the wrong terminal train. So I took the wrong train. And then when I came back, I came out of the train, and he was sitting on a bench signing things for people. And I had like a 10-second period where I was like, okay, I could either go for this or just like be professional about this. And I was like, whatever. It. I'm going for it. So I pulled the poster out of the sleeve, and I run up, and he's about to get up, and I was like, would you sign this for me? And he like looks up at me, and I have Rey hair and everything, and he just kind of like smiled, and he's like, yeah, of course. And he goes, what's your name? I was like, my name's Lacey. It's Lacey. Oh my God, it's Lacey. And I'm like holding out my ticket because it has my name on it.
You should have said Racy.
And he starts laughing. He's like, okay, Lacey, sure. What do you want me to draw? Like, what do you want me to write? And I was like, you could write whatever you want. But he was super, super nice. And he was laughing at me about how excited I was. And then after he signed it, I went to go back to my terminal. And I went up to the security guard and was like, excuse me, do you know how to get to Terminal 7? And I'm holding the poster because I don't want it to smudge. And the guy like laughs and just points at a sign. And I'm standing next to a sign that says Terminal 7.
Terminal 7.
So probably that. Or like my Kylo Ren figure from Japan. That's like it's like a little Kylo Ren with sad puppy eyes.
Probably
I think I do that terminal thing every single time I'm at the airport. I think I always walk up to somebody and I'm like, can you tell me how to get to Terminal 3? And they're like, you're in Terminal 3. And I'm like, oh my God. That's why I don't see signs for it.
You must be a keyboardist.
Whose voice was that? Every airport operator.
So keep your questions coming. We love answering them. Thank you so much. If you want to be on the show, just tweet at us with #AskTheResistance. Ask your questions, and we'll give you some answers. Back to you, John.
Yes, absolutely. And I noticed some people like to send us DM on Twitter because they don't like it, I guess, to ask them publicly. So you can send us DMs, questions, and also email us, resistancebroadcast@gmail.com. Thank you very much, Lacey, and thanks for upstaging me and James on your story of coolest item.
Heck yes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, one time George Lucas gave me a sandwich, so...
Did he?
One time I saw George Lucas, and he was wearing white New Balance sneakers, so that was cool.
Oh, you want to hear a funny George Lucas story really quick, though? So it actually is a Celebration story. So Celebration years ago, and this is before I worked at Celebration, but they had a panel where it was like George Lucas and Jon Stewart or something. and they wouldn't let people line up. And so people were waiting around the corner. And so in the morning, they let people in, and some guy was in a wheelchair with like a full leg cast. And so then the panel happened, and at the end of the panel, they go in to clear the room, and they find the wheelchair and the cast.
Oh, fraud. Wow.
So a guy faked having a broken leg to get into the panel.
So now we know. So what I'm going to do is if I see anyone with a broken leg at Celebration, I'm going to flip their wheelchair or chair
No,
over.
you're going to stick a Resistance broadcast sticker on the cast because you know where they got the idea from.
I'm going to punch their leg and see if it's really broken. And then
just make it like super meta, like write not broken on the cast. And then people are like just awkward. They don't know how to like is it, but I can't say, is that really broken to a guy in a wheelchair with a cast on his leg?
Just as fake
That'd be
cast.
So good. Yeah, fake cast. I only fake broke my leg to meet George Lucas. And then says that on the cast.
James walks up to the guy and just writes, "Sweet cast, bro."
Yeah.
All right.
Sweet
So
cast,
we love the questions this week. We always like to fly off the handle sometimes, but if you're listening and have never sent one, join the party. As Lacey said, if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube so you know when our new episodes and other fun stuff post. Also, go to tpublic.com/user/resistance broadcast and pick up some merch. We have stickers, hoodies, t-shirts, tank tops. All of our designs can be made on any of those for you. So Matt Martin from Lucasfilm hand drew a, quote, very professional non-canon star map. And
just like on his phone, I think like in notes or something. Like
And someone had said that should be a t-shirt, and James, of course, made a design real quick and threw it up on TeePublic. And we told Matt Martin for any dollar that TeePublic sends us for sales on those, we're going to send it to ASPCA for animal abuse prevention. So we sold a bunch already, so we're not going to do this forever, but go check that shirt out and buy it. It was drawn by someone from Lucasfilm Story Group, and he's on board with us. He chose that charity, so we'll keep sending them that way. Visit our website, StarWarsNewsNet.com, every day for all of your latest Star Wars news, information, editorials, reviews, and more. James, where can people find you when they want to talk to you?
When they want to talk to me, they can just get on Twitter and search for James Baney, or you can search for Myra Trunks, MIRAHTRUNKS. That is also true on Instagram. So if you guys want to follow me on either one of those channels, hit me up, like a photo, give me a heart on Twitter, whatever you want, or just ask me questions. It doesn't matter. Ask me why I'm not in the band anymore.
Oh my God.
I'm just kidding.
Sounds like it's a sore subject.
Lacey, what about you? Where can people talk to you on the interweb?
On the interwebs, people can find me on Twitter at Lacey Gillerin, just hanging out and just posting funny videos, nagging John,
right.
Just
the usual.
Yeah, just posting non-John retweeted videos.
Right, exactly.
John doesn't retweet any of my stuff, guys, and anytime I mention Kylo, he just like trolls me.
That's not true. I'm a big fan of Kylo Ren. Long before Lacey joined us here, as you all know.
I think Lacey answered her own question. She's like, John never retweets anything that I post about shirtless, hot, sexy Kylo Ren. Like, it's like, of course he's not going to retweet that stuff.
Whoa, James, now we know how you really feel.
That's what I'm saying. You said. Oh my gosh! Now I've been labeled.
We always fly off the handle before I get to plug myself, and everyone already shuts the podcast off. It's so horrible.
John, I'm gonna make you a shirt that says Lacey's biggest troll.
I'm gonna make you a shirt that says @JohnnyHoey on Twitter so that I can get people to actually follow me. And that's where you guys can find me. You can find me @JohnnyHoey in writing and editing over at StarWarsNewsNet.com every week. Come join us again this Thursday as we will unveil a new segment we are simply calling the Kessel Run. You'll see why, or just see why on our Twitter account at RBATSWNN, because we already talked about it. So be sure you're subscribed and locked in, and we'll see you Thursday morning right here on the Resistance Broadcast.